Aloha, my dudes, and welcome back to the Mikey and the Press Pass podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm David.
So, what are you enjoying right now, buddy?
Same thing you're enjoying. A Traveler from L'Atelier Cigars. Nice little 5-pack for like $15.
Oh wow,
Pretty good.
$15. Okay.
With my discount. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Nice.
pretty good. Mm-hmm. Pretty nice. Like little something to just a little snack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like
Snack
them.
pack.
We don't have the tattoo needles or the. I really like the cracker crumbs.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are really good, but we're out of those. So like these are like a close second. But
My favorite little mini smokes are I don't know if they still make them, is the J Fuego Origins. Those are really good.
They used to make the Petite Cazadors. They used to have those in 5-packs, and they don't have many 5-packs anymore, at least not that I've seen. But anyway.
Oh.
I don't know how you been, man. I saw you for like 10 minutes this week.
Yeah, no. Just
On
tired.
Monday, it was like, yeah, hey.
Hi.
All right, we'll see you later.
Bye. I'll see you sometime.
Yeah, and then no D&D and no pool this week. So that kind of cut into our buddy time. I totally forgot to tell you this on Monday, but I figured I'd tell you next time I saw you. And
Bring it on me on the podcast.
This is the next time I saw you. So
I'm moving. See ya.
Yeah. It's just okay to make fun of people for being different. I guess old kid is weird. Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
No, I had the weirdest fucking interaction with a customer, bar none, that I've ever had.
Oh yeah.
Like, not just
at West Coast.
I was at West Coast, but just ever.
Oh, okay.
And so I will relay this story to you.
Let me spin you a tale.
I will preface it by saying the weirdest thing about it is, like, you know when someone's not quite all there and you can kind of get a whiff of it? Yeah. That didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I said this.
Just full throttle crazy out of nowhere.
I said this to several people. Like, okay, so I'm not a doctor. Okay, obviously.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, hold the phone here.
Press pass? You're not a doctor.
Not anymore.
Okay. Trying to quit.
I'm a doctor of these skills, but
Whoa.
I'm like a doctor, like the way Dr. J is a doctor.
We need a Medicare doctor. Anybody? I just play basketball, bro.
I got a podcast.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I've spent enough time around fucking people that are crazy or on some sort of mind-altering substance that I can usually go, not that guy's on meth, that guy's on crack, but just like that guy's on something. And I'm not like good enough at being like, that gal is clearly bipolar and that guy is clearly manic depressive. But I'll just be like, there's something ain't right there. And I feel like most people have like a fairly good instinct.
Yeah.
But I feel my instinct is probably a little better sharpened given my family history and the people that I like grew up around.
Okay.
Places that I've lived where there's just like a lot of fucking people that aren't all there. So this guy comes in. He's a younger dude, youngish, maybe late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
And he comes in with his buddy, and I definitely get a little bit of a ratchet vibe off of them because his buddy has an open 40 in one hand. But generally speaking, he seems pretty normally dressed and groomed, and he doesn't reek of piss or anything like that. And so I was like, oh, hey, man, you have to have on a mask if you're going to be in here. And like, his response was human. It was like, oh, shit, dude, I'm sorry. And he puts his mask on. And I told his buddy, like, hey, you can't have the beer in the humidor.
What?
He was like, oh, no problem, man. I'll just leave it right here. I'm like, okay, cool. So we walk into the humidor. And he walks over to some of the placencias. And he's like, or not the placencias, the La Aurora Preferidos. He's like, I need a bunch of these. Walks over to the LFD Solomons. He's like, I need a bunch of these. And then he walks over to the Antiquidades, the My Father Antiquidades. And he's like, I need a bunch of these. I'm like, okay, well, obviously we have whatever's on the shelf, but what do you mean by a bunch? Do you need like a box? Because I'm not sure we have like sealed boxes of any of those cigars. He's like, I need like a pound. So still kind of weird,
Yeah.
but not like so far out there because some people just don't know how this shit works, right?
Okay.
Weird, but not crazy.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So I'm like, what do you mean by like a pound, man? We don't really sell them that way.
Yeah.
We sell them by the cigar or by the box. He's like, well, can't you just like weigh it out and sell it to me that way? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, here's the thing, man, is I need some of these for like paper here, and I need some of these for like electrical.
Ah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just, do Mexican people come in here? I'm like, yeah, I guess. What time do the Mexican people come in here? He's like, brown people? I'm like, yeah, dude, I know what Mexicans are. But you're confusing the shit out of me right now.
Yeah.
And he's, well, can't you just sell me some that are like inexpensive, like really inexpensive? And I'm like, okay, so now we're getting back on track to some sort of semblance of a normal human interaction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how inexpensive is inexpensive? He reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a dime, a nickel, and a quarter.
What the fuck?
So I'm like, okay, man, you just gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? I'm like, you gotta go. Get out. Don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's like, are you disrespecting me? And like, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, we might just go.
Mm-hmm.
We might just fight here.
It's go time.
Because no one gets yes to that question and
Yeah.
then just goes, oh, okay, sorry, and leaves.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're right.
But yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And then he just like walked out. And then he's going to walk out. And his buddy's like, hey, man, like, what's up with are these all your customers, these names? I'm like, just out.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
don't come back, either of you, ever. Like, just, you're gone forever. Get out. Yeah, but I'm like, no. We're done here. Go away.
Yeah.
Don't come back.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, oh, okay. He like walked out. And I was just like sitting there like, what in the fuck just happened to me?
Yeah.
It was like the weirdest interaction I've ever had. It's like,
That's pretty strange.
because it had like these slivers of like normal human behavior in there.
Like he was like phasing in and out between like being
just
super
like,
weird.
Yeah. It's like, what the electrical? I need these for electrical. I'm like, what?
I don't get
Yeah,
it.
I couldn't process it. It was just
Just
like,
broke your brain. You're like,
yeah, it's Mexicans, man. You know what Mexicans are? Like, yeah, but you're fucking confusing the shit out of me, dude. Like, what do you want?
yeah.
Okay. It's like you watch like some sort of reel of how humans interact with each other. You just say these key phrases, and he's like, but he's like mixed them all up or something.
It's like, damn it.
And then he like hit a wall. Like, oh, that apparently doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Try to say something else.
Gotta recover.
where am I
You
right?
disrespecting me? And he
Where-
said yes. Like, well, I don't want to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Because the thing is, I don't think I like really, like, you know how you hear somebody, but you don't process what they say sometimes? Like someone will be like, hey man, where's that thing? And you'll be like, what? And then they'll just pause and then you'll hear what they said.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah.
never mind. Yeah, like I know what you said. Because you react too quickly. It was like that. Like I just said, yeah. Like, because I don't think I realized what he said. Because I couldn't imagine with his whole demeanor, I couldn't imagine any question that he would have asked me that I would have just been like, no.
Uh-huh.
My brain was just like, yep, that's what I'm doing. Get out. Fuck off.
Well,
And so, yeah, that was super fucking weird. I meant to tell you about it on Monday, but I had somewhere to be. And it was like, oh, I gotta get out of this bitch. But yeah, so I think that probably takes the cake for me for the weirdest interaction I've ever had with somebody. Because normally people come in and you're like, steel yourself for the crazy. They're coming in like, that's so fucking good. And you're like, oh, this guy's nuts.
yeah.
And he's like, hey, can I use your bathroom? And you're like, no, man, I'm sorry. We don't really do that here. You gotta get out or go shit in the street or whatever.
Go shit in the parking lot. Make sure you leave your underwear.
Yeah. But like, like you can usually smell it on them in some way. And like, this guy just seemed like a more or less normal dude. Like, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't put my mask on. Okay, I'll leave my beer out here and then
Weird.
yeah. Anyway, how
I
was
wonder if it
yours?
was one of those, because Kyle was mentioning there's some ratchet folks coming in, just lounging in the front, not buying shit. It's like, yeah, this is a pretty cool hangout spot. Just tell my friends.
That's what Anthony was like. Oh yeah, I think that dude came in yesterday and he was being all fucking weird and he was talking about how he just got out of the hospital. I'm like, the fucking mental hospital? Because that sounds right. So he was talking about how he was bipolar and shit, and I'm like,
Oh, sounds about
and
right.
he was like, and I was really close. Anthony was like, I was really close to telling him like, dude, you got to buy something or you got to fucking jog on. He's
I
like,
thought at that point you just don't want to buying stuff. Just go away.
yeah. And he was like, and then Chris came out and was all nice to him. And so, he was like, whatever. But I was like, I wish more customers would take up the mantle of doing that, because when you're working at the shop and you're trying to be nice to people, you are hamstringed. It's like when some guy is being an asshole in the shop and he's talking and being obnoxious and loud, or like he's talking about shit that no one wants, or he's being offensive or something, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're anything like me, you're not going to police what people fucking talk about, right? As long as no one's yelling or like threatening violence, you just leave them the fuck alone, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're talking politics, they're talking religion or whatever, like that might not be kosher in your eyes, but like I'm not going to police what you talk about. It's not my place. But if another customer is like, hey man, why don't you shut the fuck up, right? Like we're trying to enjoy this movie, or like we're having a polite conversation and it doesn't involve you. And if you don't like it, take your cigar and fucking jog on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Like,
usually my kind of MO.
That would be fine, right? If another customer did that, it'd be like, especially if it was perfectly understandable. It's like, okay, I'm not going to police what that guy says, and I'm also not going to police what this guy says, and this guy tells that guy to shut the fuck up. As long as it doesn't escalate to the point where there is shouting, or like people are getting in each other's personal space, threatening violence or something like that. And admittedly, things like that can escalate pretty quickly. But from my experience, if you just, most of the time, as another patron, if you just tell somebody like, hey dude, can you like keep it down, or can you shut up? No one asked your opinion. Usually they might get gruff and they might leave, or they might get gruff, but usually they don't escalate the situation, at least not from my experience.
I've had a couple run-ins. Well, I wasn't working at the time, but I was just sitting down. Loud guy, you might know him. Talks about coaching people on the TV.
Yeah.
Talks a lot. Talks really loud. Another customer's like, hey, could you turn it down a little bit? We're trying to have a conversation here. They're like next to each other, that loud.
Yeah.
And it's like, what, you want to take this outside or what? I'm like, whoa, okay, buddy, just tone it down. You could talk. You don't have to talk that loud.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the first time I ever seen that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't generally escalate to that.
No.
Most people are like, oh shit, I didn't realize my volume was getting out of control. And then sometimes it'll be like a new person that like you've never seen. And generally speaking, the decorum at any place, coffee shop, bar, pool hall, poker room, cigar shop, wherever you are, is like, if you're the new guy, you just you're a wallflower for a bit. You just kind of observe everybody, and then maybe you have light interactions here and there. But some people didn't get this memo, and they'll just come in, and these two buddies who have known each other at the cigar shop for like a decade will be having a conversation in a respectful way, and they'll just hone into that fucking conversation and have like strident opinions about shit. Right? They just like walk into some place and be like, here's a fucking thing about COVID, man. This shit's a fucking hoax. And you're just like, I'm sorry, who are you?
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe if I knew you, I could entertain your gibberish, but I don't fucking know you like that. Like, shut up, And most people just be like, what's your problem? Bugger off.
Yeah.
And generally they do. Like, but every now and again it escalates. But I would rather live in a world where it like occasionally escalates and you have to be like, okay, just take it off the property if you're going to fucking do that, than to be in the business of like, don't talk about this and don't like, I've had people like that before where the manager at my old cigar shop was that way. He was like, well, you don't talk about like religion, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about this and that and this and that. And I'm like, dude,
excuse me, do you live in communist China right now?
That's kind of what I said. I was like, dude, why are you in the business of like telling people what they can and can't talk about? Like, I get it if they get rowdy and they get upset, and I get that those topics are more likely
to do that.
But like, just leave people the fuck alone, dude. Like, what do you care what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Because that's not a game you want to play where you're getting in the business of like what people can and should talk about, because then people will just come whining to you anytime people are talking about shit they don't want to talk about. As a general rule, like, if I could wave a magic wand and do away with, I would just do away with sports talk, or do away with all the like, let's talk about women and the way in which men talk about women when they're not around. It's like, it's just gross to me. I don't have any interest in it.
Locker room talk.
Yeah, there you go.
Locker room talk.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't fucking care, right? And I'm a pretty crude guy, but I just like, I don't need to know all the things that you would do to that lady. Okay, that's great. Yes, she's a gorgeous woman. I get it. Like, that's fine, but I don't want to hear about it. But like, I just stay the fuck away from those people and don't involve myself in those conversations.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty easy.
I had like a similar run, not a crazy run-in, but it's one of those days of having a bad day, right? And it was like, all right, calm down, different place, chill,
right.
Changing my state of mind. And this guy comes in, and he's been coming to the shop infrequently for a couple of years. And he just complains all the time. All the time. Anything. How come this is this way? How come this is this way? How come you don't have this? How come you have that? What's the deal with this? Why are you acting like this? I'm like, and try to like fuck with you a lot. And I wasn't having it. So I was just pushed back a little bit on him. Like, he's like, man, I got some complaints, man. Where can I write this down? You got a complaint box in here? It's like, yeah, there's some room in the trash you can put in there if you want.
I got a backup mic right here.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll talk to the owner. It's like, yeah, you go do that.
Yeah, go do that.
Try doing that. Yeah. I can't get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name? All right, little Mike. And he kept on like referring to me as like Chris's little brother. I'm like, all right, okay. Like, he's trying to fuck with you. But instead of, I really wanted to tell him to go fuck off, but I couldn't do that. I still like working there.
Yeah. Well, it's part of being hamstringed when you're like, there was this guy that came into Aloni and he was bitching about something. He was fucking, what was he doing? I can't remember. He came in and he wasn't wearing a mask. And, I'm like, hey man, you gotta have a mask on if you're in here. And it's funny because people all the time try to like get into it with me about like, well, like why does that matter? And I'm like, because
I don't care. They make me do it.
Those are the rules.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like, you want to
no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service.
Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to talk
Yeah.
to you about this.
You have some sort of reason.
Right. But yeah. And I'm sure it's a good one. Uh-huh. Good enough for me, but it's not good enough for the owners.
Yeah.
And so you will do this or I will ask you to leave. That's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just gave him a pushback, and he was trying to, like, he was doing that thing where he's, like, acting like he's jocular about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he cut his cigar in my tip jar.
Uh-huh.
Like, and I was like, oh, that's great. Thanks. I got to clean that up now. And he's like, whatever. And then, like, he goes in the back, and then he comes out, and he's like, well, hey, man, like, he's like, thanks for putting up with me. I know I could be kind of a fucking pill. I was like, man, you're okay. Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he's like, so he put some money in my tip jar, and I was like, oh, you don't want to fucking cut your cigar in there again? And he's like, well, man, I was like, yeah, you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
I was like, you come up here and apologize to me after you cut your fucking cigar in my tip jar. You have any idea how rude that is? He's like, yeah, I was just fucking around. I'm sorry, man. I'm like, okay, well, apology accepted, but like, just don't be like that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know you. Like, you seem like a nice guy because you're apologizing. You're acknowledging that you were being an asshole, but not cool.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. Yeah, message received. You're right. I don't know you. I get a little comfortable places sometimes. I'm like, that's fair. We won't have a problem again. Will we? And he's like, no, we'll be good. I'm like, okay, good. Like, it's like, just, you're like, oh, yeah, put up with me. I'm like, no. I was like,
I don't need a sob story.
I was like, you didn't give me much of a choice but to put up with you. You put your fucking like garbage in my tip jar. Yeah. It's like this.
That's a pet peeve. Like throwing money at me, throwing anything at me practically. Taking money from my tip jar to make change. That's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, touching my money is tantamount to touching my dick.
Yeah.
Like, it's not quite as bad, but it's pretty fucking close. Like, just don't touch my shit at all. Like, especially my money, but not my stuff. These things are not yours.
Jeez,
like,
what's this?
Yeah.
Let me look at that.
Well, it's like I said, I had that row with fucking Henry that one time where he grabbed my bag and moved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, don't touch my stuff, dude. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, it was in my way. I was like, no, it's behind the counter, so it can't possibly be in your way because this is not a space for customers. It's a space for employees. See that stuff there? I'm an employee. That's my shit. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you don't have to be like that. I'm like, you don't have to touch my stuff. Like,
that's pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, and especially because it wasn't even like there was a justifiable reason. Like the hatch on the top of my bag was like the stitching on it was coming loose.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't pick it up by that. But he didn't get that memo. And he's grabbed and if he had broke my bag, I would have been mad.
Yeah.
Would have been very mad. And, but I mean, he didn't. But I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Just don't touch my shit. Don't fucking, don't, like, yeah. It was like fucking Bailey got out of that guy's fucking case one time. He was like grabbing his phone and shit.
Oh, Henry?
I don't know if it was Henry, it was somebody. Somebody just like grabbed up his fucking phone. I was like, oh, is this like the new like whatever? And he just like took it back and he was like, if you touch my stuff again, I will lick your face.
Uh-huh.
They're like, yeah, you know how Bailey gets. He's like, no, you don't understand. Like,
I'll pin you down.
he's like, yeah. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Bailey just fucking flips that switch, and it's like you don't want to be on his bad side.
No.
It's a little fucking touchy sometimes, but that's the thing is at least I can appreciate that is because his line for the shit that he like Bailey's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, he's a
in
really nice
general.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like one of my favorite people that comes in the shop. And so, like, he's got like he'll give you all the
Hard,
rope.
fast line.
Yeah, he'll give you all the rope in the world to fucking hang yourself with. But like, once you hang yourself, like he's gonna hang you.
Yeah.
He's taller than you, so he'll
Right here.
yeah. And so it's like don't fuck around. It's like you fuck around like that. It's like that new phrase that like, I took from Sen that says play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It's one of my new favorite phrases.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, Sen's been saying it a lot lately. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, man, that's fucking good. I'm taking that.
That's a good one.
In the repertoire. Anyway, what's new with you, man? I didn't get any updates by you lately.
Let's see. Did a refill on my humidor. It was getting low. I filled the humidor as a happy humidor.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a lot of cheap stuff. So I bought
Cheap bastards, rough riders.
yeah, all that good stuff.
Cheap. Oh, you said cheap stuff.
Yeah, cheapy stuff. So it's like Davidoff makes like a really inexpensive stick.
It's
It's
like
called-
it's like $16.50.
No. It's like another. They call it the private stock. And I remember like the first year I ever started smoking, smoked that, really enjoyed it. So I bought a box of that. We're going to be reviewing the CI Legends.
Legend, bro.
Legend,
Legend.
bruv. Perdomo stick.
Yeah.
Got a 5-pack of that. The Oliva O Maduros. The tattoos.
Tattoos are great. That's one of my favorite budget sticks.
Yeah. And what else? Did I get something else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
But bought a whole bunch of that stuff. Humidor is running good.
I get some Cubans next week.
Yeah, gonna
be
pick
good.
some of that stuff up. Ship sick. A lot of the stuff is ship sick. So I'm trying to see what happens within the next month. Because I smoked the private stock stuff. I was like, ooh, little bite to it.
Yeah.
So, but that thing, like, I'll give you one. It's like flawless. Like construction wise, it just looks super pretty. It looks like a fake cigar. And it was a pretty good price. It was like a Churchill for like a box of 20, like ran me 85, 90 bucks. Yeah. But it's like Dominican as fuck. Like it just tastes like a Dominican cigar, which is a nice little like change up for my palate.
Yeah.
You need like a palate cleanser.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is you kind of have to expect that because they're Davidoff and they are Dominican, and so like part of what they do well is they kind of iron out some of the flaws in Dominican tobacco by just being super like every little detail of the profile and everything being on point.
Yeah.
Bought the rest of those Xeno Platinums up at fucking West
yeah.
Coast. I was like, there's 3 of these left. I'm fucking buying them.
Oh, I forgot also too. I picked up a tin of the Davidoff tobacco, pipe tobacco.
Yeah, I saw that on the gram.
The royalty, and smoked it this morning. Cracked open the tin this morning, and it was one of those things where it's like the aha moment for me. For example, like the Tatuaje brown label. That was an aha moment for me. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna like cigars a lot.
Yeah.
And that one was just kind of just like an aha moment for me. I smoked it, like, man, this is really fucking good.
I don't think I've ever even smoked any of Davidoff's pipe tobacco, but every time I smelled it, I was like, I bet that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like just smelling it is like, that smells fucking awesome.
Yeah. And, tins are fairly inexpensive compared to cigars. It's like, what, like 8 ounces? Or no. It's like about, I think it's like an ounce and a half for like $20. I'm like, that's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'll give you some, bring your pipe or whatever.
All right, I think I have a corn cob at Ohlone still, but my fucking Briarwood is long gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
Get molded up or just
No, actually, what happened to it is,
try to smoke some weed in it and, got fucked up?
No, I was smoking it at work one day, way back when my first go around at West Coast, and I broke it out because you broke yours out, And I was like, oh yeah, I fucking got a pipe back here. It was in my locker, and I took it out, and then they got rid of the lockers, and so I had it in back or something, and I left it out, and then I think what happened is it got tossed in the lost and found, and then like I was wondering, I was like, where the fuck is my pipe? Like I couldn't. And then like Sen came in one day, and he was smoking a pipe, and I was like, where did you get that pipe? And he's like, oh, Chris gave it to me, and I was like, yeah, that's my pipe, dude. And he was like, oh shit, I didn't know. He just gave it to me. He said I could have it. It's been sitting around the shop. And I was like, yeah, you know what, man? You fucking. He was on a big pipe smoking kick at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can just have it, dude. Like it's just, I don't really smoke out of it that much, but I think it's just kind of fucked up. Somebody gave my pipe away.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah. I was like, you
It's like
disinfected
touching
it.
the man's dick, man.
I was like, you disinfected it and everything. First, he's like, yeah, I disinfected it. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, you can have it, I guess. And I've maybe smoked pipe like 3 or 4 times since then.
Okay. Got
a corn cob at Loney, because Adam was on a big pipe kick. He probably still is. I haven't talked to him in months, but
yeah, he's never in California, so you never know.
But yeah, he just got some. He was like all these like fancy pipe tobaccos. He was like, oh, you gotta try this. I'm like, I don't have a pipe. So we'll get a pipe. And Jeb was like, you just have one of the corn cobs if you want, dude. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Smoked it. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. It's hard to smoke a pipe at work though, man.
Actually, I prefer it. Like, I was smoking it this morning. It's like, oh, all right, cool. You don't have to babysit it at all. Just let it go, relight it. No biggie.
Yeah, it's hard for me to like get into. Well, I mean, it's a little busier at Ohlone though. A little more foot traffic because we have indoor seating and shit. People come in, use the bathroom, need help with cigars, and then I gotta like, you know, it's like I can't really just like I light it, and just by the time I get it going, I gotta set it down. And it's like, fuck. And I don't have a particularly big pipe, so it's like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah, that's the bummer part about like pipe tobacco or just pipes in general. Unless you get like a big, was it the MacArthur fucking big ass like corn cob
like Ted Farrell used to have? You just walk around and fucking light that fucker with a torch. And it's like, God, you're an animal, dude. It's like, yeah, I can't roll on that. But yeah, no, he did turn me out of some pretty good pipe tobaccos. I like Burley. I'm discovering I like Burley pipe tobacco.
Okay. Yeah, I just usually stick to English, so.
Yeah, I like English too, but I never really got into the whole like Burley Virginia mix is pretty good. Kind of has like this like buttery like tastiness to it. We have the 1Q at Ohlone. It's called 1Q, I guess, and it's Golden Cavendish. It's really good.
Okay.
It's like really just kind of light, like faintly, like naturally aromatic, really good. I dig that, but yeah, I don't know, I don't really, but yeah, just every time I smell Davidoff pipe tobacco, I'm like, it smells fucking good.
Yeah,
it's probably pretty good.
What else? Oh, finalized my setup for the TV that you got me. Got a Fire Stick.
Nice.
All set up, watch shit at home instead of on my tablet. Like,
I beat you to the TV. I set my TV. It was like, who's gonna set their TV up first? Because mine was just sitting in my closet for like 2 months. Like.
Well, I had a little mini PC set up for gaming. Had that set up, but yeah. I was like, it's about the time to buy a Fire Stick, so.
I didn't even set up my... It's fucked up. Is fucked up with my TV? Is it like... My TV can like... It's like, here, it's just like, you know, it'll listen to you. Try saying a command. And so I'm like talking to the remote.
Fuck you.
Talking to it, like, and I'm like, I don't think this remote does that. I think I need a different remote. I think it's like the TV has the capability, but I have to just like get a different remote. Like it doesn't come with the fucking remote that does it. So annoying. I'm like, and I don't care because it's like really not that hard to navigate shit. But like, you know, it's the problem is if you want to like, oh great, I want to watch The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, right? It's like, fuck, I'm gonna type that shit all out. It's like, god damn it, right? But most of the time it's not a problem. But
Lemony Snicket and the
series of unfortunate events. Yeah, it's like Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. Apparently it's a TV show now. I didn't know that. It's been a TV show for a while.
Yeah. Neil Patrick Harris? I think he plays the dude.
Oh, the guy that Jim Carrey plays, Count Orloff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the movie with mostly because it had what's her name in it, who's like one of my big celebrity crushes, Emily Browning. She was in like Sucker Punch and all that shit.
I never saw Sucker Punch.
Oh, I don't know.
I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, but I mean, you've seen at least the gal that's in it, right?
Isn't there like 3 gals?
The chick with the blonde, not Jenna Malone, but the main chick, the chick with the blonde hair, although she's not really a blonde, but she's like this English actress, and she looks like I don't know, she looks like a giant doll, and she's like my jam. I don't know,
Okay.
she's super fucking cute. I don't know, I really like her. She's really attractive. But yeah, she was in that, and so I saw it just basically because she was in it. I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. But
Speaking of seeing stuff, have you seen anything lately?
I'm
Watched anything? Read anything?
I'm almost through Party Down,
Okay.
which is a show I got introduced to when I lived in Ann Arbor, and I got turned back onto it because Adam was asking me about it. He was like, "Hey, have you ever seen Party Down?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I watched like the half the first season or whatever when I lived in Ann Arbor. It's a pretty good show." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's my college roommates were the guys that did that show." And I was like, "Oh, that's a good show." And he's like, "Yeah, I've been watching it. It's like pretty good." He was like, "Yeah, you know the second episode where it's like the college conservatives." He was like, "Yeah, that's them making fun of me because I was like that guy in college." I was like, "Oh, it's really cool." I'm like, "Yeah, I should go back and watch that show. It's got Adam Scott in it, and Lizzie Kaplan's in it, and Jane Lynch is in it, and who else is in it? Kristen Bell is in a few episodes. Who else? There's a bunch of people in it, man. Like, it was the show that Adam Scott was doing. I think that's his name, Adam Scott, when he left to do Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And it was the show Jane Lynch was doing when she left to do Glee. So it was like right before both of them got like
Their big break.
Their big break. But it's a cool show. It's about like this catering company, and so each episode is whatever event they're catering, and they're all like actors or like they're in show business.
Okay. Yeah,
so one of the guys like is not in show business anymore, but he was. And then the other guy's an actor, and one of the other gals is like kind of long in the tooth actress. And then Lizzie Kaplan's character, I really like Lizzie Kaplan too. She's like a comedian or something. So it's a pretty good show. There's 2 seasons of it, 10 episodes a season. So I think I got like 3 left. I'm just now starting to get to a few episodes that I like. Last night I got to some episodes that I hadn't seen before, and so I watched that. I've been watching that for like the last week, and then we watched Unforgiven again.
Okay.
Which is one of my all-time favorite movies, and every time I watch it, I'm like, man, this movie's so fucking good, dude. This is just such a fucking good movie. It's just like there's not better movies than Unforgiven. There's just movies that are like as good and different. But yeah, Diana had never seen it, and I've been hankering to watch it, and I was like, that's kind of like the end of the Western, you know? And she's like, I've never seen any Westerns. I was like, you kind of have to see Westerns to get it. And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? Like, I mean, it's a good movie. You won't not. And she's like, oh yeah, okay. So we watched it. And I was like, man, I fucking love that movie. And she's like, yeah, it's really. What did she say? It's like, she said it was scary. She's like, it's really scary.
No.
She's like, there's tension in like every single moment of the film. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not scary. And she's like, I don't know. I just felt like anxious the whole film. I'm like, yeah, that'll do it. That's how you know it's a good movie, right? Because it keeps the dramatic tension in every single scene. But yeah, solid performances. That movie's just like Clint Eastwood's magnum opus, man. It's probably the best Western ever. I don't even think probably. I think I used to go back and forth between Tombstone and Unforgiven. And I think I've settled that Unforgiven is a better film. It's not necessarily more enjoyable. It's not more enjoyable per se, but it is a better made movie. Mostly because Tombstone is just so fucking quotable. It's just like every 5th or 6th line is like super duper quotable. I mean, not that Unforgiven's not. It's got some lines in it, but yeah, Gene Hackman and Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood, and I never really appreciated, you know, the guy that plays like he's the young simulacrum for Clint Eastwood. The guy that that employs him to go on a bounty.
Okay.
You know, that young dude, he kind of represents Clint Eastwood in his youth, right?
It's been a while since I watched that movie, so.
Well, so basically the whole, like, duality of the film is that, like, Morgan Freeman's character kind of represents the man that Clint Eastwood wants to be, right? He's, like, settled down, he's got a wife, you know, the man that he aspires to be and try to leave his past of being, like, this scoundrel behind. And then this kid who employs him to go on this bounty represents like Clint Eastwood's character when he was still like an up and comer, right? And then he's kind of straddled between these two worlds. And that dude, the dude that plays that young kid, turns in a hell of a fucking performance too. He just gets overshadowed because there's Clint Eastwood and fucking Morgan Freeman and Gene Hackman is in the movie, right? So it's like
staring at the sun. It was like, you see Mars there? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but no, that guy turns in a hell of a fucking performance. And, you know, I've appreciated it more the more I've seen that movie. But yeah.
It was a young Nick Cage.
Yeah, it was a young Nicolas Cage. But I think that was all I watched. I kept meaning to, like, I was going to watch some Cowboy Bebop last night with my old lady.
Oh, I should watch that too.
But we went out to dinner, and then she had a drink at dinner, and then I pumped her full of fucking food. And then I came home and fed her some more alcohol, and she just fucking was done. It was like, especially because
the Manchurian Candidate
yeah,
just walks away.
No, it was literally
for the people that are listening. Like this is one time we were playing D&D in your garage.
Mm-hmm.
She was drinking, we're having fun, and all of a sudden she just gets up and walks away. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
No, she's probably drunk right now. I was like, oh, okay.
That's how she do. No, she fell asleep. Like she was like, and I like reached over and like smacked her in the face. And she's like, huh? I'm awake. I'm like, you're not. Get up and go to bed. She's like, no, I'm fine.
Like a little kid trying to fight it off.
She's like, we can. And I told her, I was like, here's the thing, is I love you, but we now have 2 flights of stairs up to the bedroom, and I'm not carrying you up 2 flights of stairs to go to bed. So
a bunch of logs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much that I couldn't bear the weight of her, but like navigating the stairs, I'm likely to hit her head on a banister or something.
You think I have a concussion. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, you fell down.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is when she gets like that, like I could bang her head on something and drop her. And you know, like normally when you go to hit the ground, you have some semblance of like instinct, you know, and defensive, but she would just fall like a rag doll down the fucking stairs. It's like, just,
Like a stunt man going down.
exactly. It's just like one of those like, you know, fucking body doubles or whatever.
It's no Mac and
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like a marionette that had its strings cut. Just so yeah, we didn't get around to watching Cowboy Bebop, and instead I watched more Party Down. But,
Okay.
yeah, we talked last week about me making it through What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's you've been enjoying the Hulu.
Ooh.
Did you see? I thought about watching it though. I didn't know.
Devs.
No, it doesn't pop up. I gotta search it. I keep forgetting to. But apparently Soleil Moon Frye made a fucking documentary. Did you see this?
Who is that? I don't know.
Punky Brewster.
Oh, okay.
She made apparently when she was a kid and she was coming up with like, you know, Brian Austin Green and like, you know, all those people that were like in her age group. Mm-hmm. The dude that was in that guy, what's he fucking in? He's like a real pretty boy, like these big blue eyes. And he looks kind of like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, but prettier.
Ricky Schroeder?
I don't know, maybe. But so it was like a bunch of people, and apparently, like when she was a girl,
They violently raped her.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be one of those documentaries.
Well, I didn't. She used to carry a handheld camcorder with her like everywhere that she went.
Oh, okay.
And I guess she recently was like moving or something, and she found like all these tapes.
Oh.
And so she like went through and like, you know, put them together in like a documentary and got interviews with all these like people that she was friends with when she was kids, and talked about like basically what it was like kind of coming up famous during those formative years, like in the early 90s and stuff like that. It looked like it could be pretty interesting. It's called Kid 90.
Okay.
So it looked like it could be pretty interesting. And yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of she talks about how, at least in the trailer, she talks about how, you know, because she went from being like a girl to just having like these giant fucking fun sacks. I don't know if you know that about her.
I've heard of. I haven't seen pictures of her as an older person, but
no, she got a breast reduction
okay.
when she was like in her like late teens or early
Damn.
20s. Because she was like a D cup when she was like 14 or 13 or something like that. And so she talks a little bit about that, about kind of how like, you know, men started kind of treating her like an adult at a certain age, which you're already famous, so that's already a thing that happens. You know, see, you know, Jodie Foster or Drew Barrymore or any of those people that like, you know, I had an alcohol problem when I was 9. It's like, yeah, that'll fucking do it. You know, hang around with a bunch of famous people, they'll start treating you like, yeah, you're an adult, here's some blow, you're 10 or whatever. Not Channing Tatum, what's her name? Tatum O'Neal.
I don't know who that is.
She was in Paper Moon. You ever see Paper Moon?
Nope.
Pretty good. You should see it. But she's the youngest person to ever win an Oscar. She was 9 when she won an Oscar. And yeah, she has like this really fucked up like childhood where she like, you know, became friends with Melanie Griffith. And Melanie Griffith was like 18 or 19 and she was like 10 or 11 or something like that. And then Melanie Griffith like banged her dad and like all these fucked up things, you know, and she just kind of, she was one of those child actors that did not become an adult actor because that machine just grinds you up and fucking spits you out apparently. So, but no, it looked pretty interesting. I just don't know. Like, I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, it's a bunch of like teeny bopper actors that I really wasn't into any of them.
Yeah.
But it looked, I mean, it's like all her home movies, and then she's the director and like the editor and stuff of the film. So presumably it's a pretty heartfelt project. I just don't know that I could sit through that much earnestness for like 2 hours. Clint Eastwood's not shooting anybody in the face. So like, I don't know about this. It looks good, but it doesn't look like it's for me. Yeah. You know, like it doesn't look like it's for me, but you know, good is good, but maybe I'll get around to it eventually.
So I just watched this Netflix original, Yin Yang Masters. I always want to say Yin Yang Twins for some reason.
Yin Yang Twins.
Yeah. But it's basically a live action like anime.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's nothing any seriousness to the movie, but it was just like really, there's some really cool like creature creations and the way they animate some of the demons or creatures or whatever, because it's like almost like half the frames, because it looks like it's like stop motions, really chunky movements.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it has pretty cool stuff, and the way they do like spells and stuff like that are pretty original to me. I've never seen anything done like that. So it's like worth watching if you want to see a spectacle, because it's almost in the same style as like those Chinese epic movies.
Oh,
like a lot of wire work and
like a Hero or Crouching Tiger.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
That's the other big one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
But
yeah, it's worth watching. Just put it in the background, just like cool visuals, stories, whatever. But like the biggest pet peeve for me is like, I don't know why you would have subtitles and not have the words match with what they're saying. Like,
how do you know they don't match?
Because it's dubbed.
Oh.
And then the subtitles are way off because like they keep on mentioning these demons, but in the subtitles they keep on calling them monsters. And then it was like, I was like, I'm going to have to kill you. And then the subtitles, I will have to destroy you. I'm like, why would you do that? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Different translators for the subtitles and the dub.
It could be, but I don't know. But watch that one. That's a soft recommendation if you just want to put something on with some action and visuals.
What's that one movie I was like... I always think of when I think of like live action anime is like what is it called, like 99 Assassins or something like that.
Oh, the Japanese one about the samurai.
I think it's 99 Assassins,
something
or
like that.
Something like that. Like that movie feels like a fucking anime.
Yeah. This one, like the Yin Yang Master thing, it's like what could have been if M. Night Shyamalan didn't direct The Last Airbender. It could have been that. It could have been super fucking cool.
You know, I never made it through more of that show. I watched like, I think the first season maybe. Like
okay.
I watched like maybe 14 or 15 episodes of it. And
you said it was like too kiddie for you.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, I can tell it's a good kid show.
Mm-hmm.
But I can already tell why people are fucking mad at the movie. I was like, I didn't even see the movie. The movie just looks fucking bad. And it's like, this is the source material. Like, this could have been cool.
Yeah.
It could have been really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. But you had to fuck it up.
But you had to fuck it up, like with getting M. Night Shyamalan.
You had to put your fucking fingers into the pudding and just fuck it up. I don't know why you did that. But anyway.
Overworking the dough is what I call that.
Yeah. Watch that. Just I'm in the middle of watching episode 2 of that Disney Plus series Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's like
it's a cool name. I don't know what the show's about.
It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's basically set like it's in the same style and feel as in Captain
The
America.
Marvel characters.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Captain America Winter Soldier, kind of like that whole like spy tech kind of government shit that's happening.
Yeah.
Mixed with like a little bit of buddy cop because they're kind of at odds with each other.
Hmm.
So it makes for kind of interesting comedy.
Yeah, it's weird to me that you like that kind of like espionage stuff, but you've never, from what I can tell, I've never watched any of those. Like there was the political, what's the name for it? It's not conspiracy, but it's like basically that's what it is. It's like a whole genre of films in the 70s where it was like 3 Days of the Condor,
I don't like movies from the 70s.
all the President's Men,
Uh-huh.
The Parallax View.
Mhm.
Like there's a whole series of movies like this where it's
Mm.
like regular Joe uncovers something nefarious going on, pulls at a thread, and uncovers like some plot.
Yeah.
Right. The part of what I liked about that show Rubicon,
Mhm.
for the one season it aired, that's a very underrated show. It has that kind of like that feel to it
Mhm.
of those movies, but like updated.
Okay.
And so, considering that you seem to like that kind of,
Well, I actually never heard most of those movies, so
yeah, I'm trying to think of what's another one. It's All the President's Men is about basically the Watergate scandal.
yeah.
And then The Parallax View, 3 Days of the Condor, and there's another big one too that I think has Robert Redford in it as well. It might be the same director as those second and third ones. There's a whole genre of films like that though, where it's
Is
like,
that right? Why Robert Redford's in like the Winter Soldier?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, that's what made me think of it.
Okay.
Is that like that's kind of a nod to the fact that he was
Ah.
in a bunch of those movies.
Okay.
Is that like but he's usually the good guy in those films.
Ah, okay.
So
Yeah. I went,
yeah, I realized that probably did go over your head, and so it was kind of.
it's like, oh, I like Robert Redford. He's a cool guy.
I don't know if he's a cool guy. He's a great actor. He's a really good actor. He's old as shit now. God, he's fucking old.
Yeah.
He's in some movie, man, where like he doesn't say anything the whole fucking movie.
Oh, the one in the boat.
Yeah, all is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good movie.
I'll act with my face.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a really well done movie.
Acting.
Yeah. It's like what Castaway should have been. Because that movie's a fucking kind of a hunk of shit comparatively.
I can see why it's not your cup of tea. I don't think it's a hunk of shit.
Given all the accolades it got, I guess I'm tempering. It's not a terrible movie. But like, it got all these accolades for being like a fucking great movie. And I was like, it's fine. Whatever.
Wilson!
Yeah.
Wilson!
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
It's just like, it's like, I think you guys just like spending time with Tom Hanks is all it is. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Tom Hanks
would be my friend.
Yeah. He's, I don't like Tom Hanks in dramas. Fucking Green Mile Tom Hanks is a bunch of bullshit. I want Man with One Red Shoe and Joe versus the Volcano and Big and The Burbs. Like,
I don't like doing those movies, man.
That Tom Hanks.
I don't like doing those movies.
But he's so good at them.
Dance monkey, do what I want.
So good.
Well,
Yeah. He only makes like 25 million a film for those. He makes like 50 million a film for dramas.
yeah.
It's like just all the awards. I don't think you can give him any more awards.
Didn't watch. I was watching Jenna watch Westworld season 1, and then it's like one of those things where you know what's gonna happen, and they're like you're kind of excited for them when they watch. It's like she's like really confused at one point. It's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just like,
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. I was like, oh yeah, I should watch Westworld again. That season 1 was great. Actually, all the seasons are great.
They're all great. It's a great fucking show.
Yeah, and then watched but not watched. I don't know why it popped up in my YouTube feed, but someone was like reacting to watching Fight Club for the first time.
Yeah.
And them just like that whole moment when they figure out who Tyler Durden is.
Yeah.
And it just breaks their fucking, and you can see in their eyes like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. I will say I like Fight Club, and my mom, of all people, who is not insightful about film by any stretch of the imagination, but we were talking about Fight Club because I had watched it right before my mom came with Diana for the first time.
Oh, okay. How was that?
And well, she liked it, but my mom was like, "Yeah, Fight Club." She's like, "That's one of those movies that's like good, but like gets like it's good the first time you see it, and the second time you see it, it's better.
Yeah.
But then after like 3 or 4 viewings, it starts getting worse. Like you don't like when was the last time you watched Fight Club?
Probably a year or two ago.
Because like last couple times I've watched it, did not like it as much as I originally liked it. I mean, I still like it. It's a solid movie.
Yeah.
But it used to be like the first few years after it came out.
Oh yeah, I would definitely put it in like the top 3 movies.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, Fight Club movie's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, it's a solid movie. And it's definitely worth watching, but I don't think that I'll watch it again unless, like, unprompted, unless someone else wants to watch it or whatever. But, like, it's not like Seven. Like, I've seen that movie a bunch of times, and that movie gets better every time you watch it. And, but yeah, it's not, it's just like after you kind of, like, know all the key pieces and everything that's going on, it just kind of is like, yeah, it's fine.
Do you feel like it's like any of the main characters are they're not likable at all?
Mm-mm.
Like, Tyler Durden's not likable. What's his face? His character's not likable.
Well, Tyler's likable in the whole anti-hero way, and I think
edgelord of like edgelord.
Yeah, and I think like when you get past an age where that's cool,
yeah,
then you're just kind of like, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing there, pal. Like, yes, you're very Brad Pitt. You know, it's like, you know, oh man, like people like, you know, with their images, and it's like, I'm sorry, you're not wearing bronzer with your 6-pack and your fucking spiky hair. Like, you're very obviously
stuff that you own is gonna own you.
Whoa.
Man.
I mean, it's still got some pretty quotable lines in it. It's really good, but
his name in Project Mayhem, you have no name, but when you die, you have your name.
Yeah,
this man was Robert Paulson. His name was Robert.
Every time he was a fucking Mindhunter, I just kept thinking of that scene.
I couldn't stop thinking about it.
I was like,
his name was Robert Paulson.
It's like I felt the same way when I first saw Iron Man, and I love Iron Man. Iron Man is like probably my favorite Marvel movie. Like for me, there's a few Marvel movies that are kind of like for me, it's Winter Soldier, The Avengers, Guardians, the first Iron Man. Those are all like the top tier Marvel movies. Yeah. Right. And then there's like some that are in the second tier that maybe they can like at moments they kind of grasp at that top
like a
tier.
Thor, like, you know.
Yeah, like especially the third Thor movie or whatever. Yeah. Like it
stands
there.
by itself.
Right. It's kind of, but it's a little too silly to be like is like
to be top S tier.
Right, to be that S tier.
It's definitely A.
Yeah, it's definitely A tier. Yeah. But those 4 or 5 movies are like S tier. And but like when I watched Iron Man, I could not get over the fact that the fucking bad guy is the dude.
Oh yeah,
like I just couldn't get over it. Like every time, like especially because there's
like man,
because there's like points where he'll have pauses in what he's saying. He'll just be like, "Well, here's the thing, Tony," and I'll just be like, "That's your opinion, man." it's like yeah, it's like okay, yeah, you're the bad guy. We know that already. Like, halfway through the first reel.
Yeah.
But you know, it doesn't prevent it from being. I think it's probably the best Marvel movie, but maybe I just say that because it's the first Marvel movie.
I always put Winter Soldier as my first. I love that fucking movie.
But like, can you delineate between like something that's your favorite and something that is better?
I can, yeah. But I think
Do you think Winter Soldier is a better made movie than the first Iron Man?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the thing about the plot, the big baddie, and it's so weak. Is like, it's not that great of an.
But here's the thing, though, is for me, like,
because it's more of a character building series rather than a like plot moving it forward kind of type movie. Where Winter Soldier is kind of all a mix of everything else.
But it
kind of builds upon that world of what it is to be like ground level kind of Marvel superhero world.
But it has the same inherent flaw that all sequels have, which is that it is reliant on what came before. It is reliant on the fact that Captain America was already a movie.
I don't think you need to watch like the first Avenger to watch Winter Soldier.
You don't need to, but it definitely builds on that.
There's some stuff, there's some base layer stuff, but I had to disagree with that one. That one just kind of stands alone as its own movie.
Yeah, it's got a lot more intrigue, I think. And the whole shadow play element of it is very good. But for me, it's like, I can't think of a better origin story in any movie than the first Iron Man. And to me, that's good, like just good writing. Like it's really good. But I will say though that maybe that's part of my bias, is that the origin story is so good that actually the central conflict of the film is basically not that great.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's this guy, you know.
Oh, he makes another Iron Man suit?
Yeah. And so that is kind of weak.
Yeah.
But for me, I boil it down to, like, I like Winter Soldier, but Iron Man has several, like, oh shit fucking moments, dude. Like, oh fuck yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like where he's doing like things like getting the pictures of the guys, and he's like yeah, so he's like no don't just no, I'm kidding, just go ahead, you throw it up,
Yeah.
right? So, and nothing beats in any movie the fucking like the chill, at least that I got, when he first comes out in the Iron Man suit and fucking Black Sabbath tears up. Like that just it's like one of the best moments in cinema ever.
Yeah.
Like
then the mic drop at the end is like, I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of moments like that movie. It's like, ah!
Yeah.
And then Winter Soldier is like, this is pretty fucking good.
Uh-huh.
Well, that was dope.
Uh-huh.
That was dope. But I don't ever go like, it's not like in Avengers, right? Where the fucking, like, well, Hulk punches the monster. I'm always, man. Yeah. It's, that's like, man.
Yeah.
That's a movie moment.
Yeah.
And for me, Winter Soldier doesn't have any of those. Like, it's just a.
Because it's like more evenly paced. That's why I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But go back to the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, right.
A really interesting thing they do with it, I think, with the WandaVision, all the next phase of Marvel.
You know, people keep talking about that movie, like that show WandaVision.
Yeah.
But like for the first few times, people were like, they say it like it's one word, just like you did, WandaVision. And I'm
I think it is one word.
Is it? Like, I don't know. It's like WandaVision. And I'm like, what the hell is WandaVision?
Yeah, I think it is one word, WandaVision.
Yeah.
But they're always dealing with what they call it. Because I always think of it the snapping, but I like the blink or whatever. I forget what term they always use, where the people just disappeared for 5 years,
Okay.
and they come back, and they're dealing with this whole thing all the time. And I think it's really kind of interesting how it sets up conflicts within that world. They're world building more on that, so I'm kind of digging that. Like, what do you do when half of the world disappears and comes back 5 years later?
Have a problem with resource allocation?
Yeah. A lot of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucks up the economy.
Yeah. Interesting factoid. Apparently, they never call her Scarlet Witch in any of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Presumably because they don't have the rights to that.
Oh, they don't?
I would assume.
I don't know.
But yeah, they don't ever call her Scarlet Witch, which is fine because that's a stupid fucking name for a hero anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, they call her just Wanda.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still have just major problems with, like, how does she mutant? Like, I don't know. What are her fucking powers? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very vague.
They just seem to be like anything and everything.
Yeah.
She's magic. She's just a magic, and she's a Harry Potter character or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say the same kind of about Vision, but at least he has the excuse that he's not a person.
No.
So
he's a robot.
Yeah. Is he a robot, or is he just like, he's like a sentient Infinity Stone, isn't he? Isn't that what he is?
It's a combination of both, right?
I don't know. I never really understood like how he came into being, and moreover, like why she like apparently is in love with him.
I don't know. And it finds a way, I guess.
It's really weird when he like is wearing like J. Crew clothes.
Yeah,
and
he's like just sitting there, hey there, I'm just a normal human being like you fellas.
It's not though, because your whole costume is just like branded on your skin.
Yeah.
Like, that's really weird. Also, why would he have genitals? I've always wondered this. I mean, I know they don't get into that in the movies because they're like, you know, for kids and stuff too, but like they have a romantic relationship. Presumably he's got some business.
Well, he can make business.
Oh, that's right. He can make business.
Yeah.
So he just makes the business.
Yeah, he just makes it. But he does it.
Okay, yeah. So he's kind of like a Dr. Manhattan situation where he's not limited by human limitations. I get why she likes him now.
Yeah.
He's just a machine. He's just like a fuck machine.
I never get tired.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, okay.
Anyways, got any news? Any news stories for us?
Yeah, actually, I was waiting for this story to find out like what happened, because remember Texas just were like, yeah, we're done with this. We're done.
Yeah.
We're out.
Uh-huh.
And that was a while ago. And I was like, so what happened? Like, what's going on in Texas? Because I feel like if a bunch of people were dying of COVID, that you immediately would have heard of it. And so actually there's an article in the Wall Street Journal today talking about how they're fine.
Hmm.
that their numbers are basically like trending down and everything is fine. And there's all this like capitulation bullshit in there where it's like, well, we don't know like how many people like have been, like vaccinated, people are getting more vaccinations, and like there's a variety of factors. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, but they're fine, right? Like no masks, full capacity, everything, and they're just carrying on normally, right? Like that's the thing that is,
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
yeah, no, according to the Wall Street Journal, it is
Hmm.
where they're just fine. Like, I mean, their numbers aren't really going, because they tried this before. I don't know if you remember, but like at the beginning of COVID, they tried to like, we're not going to follow these regulations. And then they saw like this ridiculous spike in like cases. And the governor was like, whoa, hey, fuck. All right, never mind.
Yeah.
We'll go back to doing some of the lockdown stuff. And then after a while, he was like, yeah, I think we're probably good. I think we're good. We're just going to go back to normal. And then he did. And I was like, yeah, what? Like Diana was just talking about the other day. She's like, what happened with that? I'm like, you know what? I don't fucking know. But I feel like if a bunch of people were dying, we would have heard about it like way sooner. And as it turns out, like they're doing fine. Maybe that sets a precedent for the rest of us to do fine.
We're in orange tier already.
Yeah. Maybe be earlier than 2 years.
Yeah.
That's about what I was in for. I was like, oh, it's gonna be about 2 years. That's historically the shelf life on a pandemic, but we haven't had one of those in a while, so maybe it's different now. I remember having this argument with my aunt one time, where this is right around the time of the Iraq War, and I will say that she was right and I was wrong. But she was talking about like it was right when the shortly after the Iraq War got announced, and she was like, "It's gonna be terrible for the economy." And I was like, well, historically, actually, war is usually pretty good for the economy. She was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, but look at all the other wars that were good for the economy. What about those? And she's just like, you just don't know anything, David.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19 when that happened. Mm-hmm. And she was right. It was horrible for the economy. But like,
shows what you know.
Yeah, I guess it does. But like, she didn't offer any evidence other than just saying something.
Stupid kids, shut up.
Yeah, you don't know anything. I'm like, okay. Keep in mind, this is the woman who had an argument with my cousin, Sabrina. And Sabrina was like 12 or something. And her mom was going on about Czechoslovakia.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to go, Mom, that's not a country. And she was like, yes, it is, Sabrina. And she's like, no, it's not, Mom. That hasn't been a country in like a long time.
Yeah.
Like the Second World War-ish. It's 2 countries now,
mm-hmm.
Czech Republic and Slovakia, which I always thought was kind of funny because if you just said, okay, Czech Republic and Slovakia and Czechoslovakia, which came first, the 2 countries or the 1 country? You would probably say like, well, it was probably originally the Czech Republic and Slovakia, and then they just made it Czechoslovakia as a way to compromise on the name or whatever. But it happened the other way, right? Like it was Czechoslovakia, and then they made it Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Is that the way? I don't know.
Yeah, it was Czechoslovakia.
Mm-hmm.
That was the name of the country,
mm-hmm.
like prior to World War II, and even up through World War II. And
like, no, split it.
Yeah, but the two component things, they seem like they're
you want the first part.
Components on their own right,
yeah.
and that the name of the thing that it actually was
mm-hmm.
seems like a mishmash of those 2 things.
Yeah,
like a stupid way to like make it sound kind of like each of them.
Yeah,
but it happened the other way. So I was like, okay. But yeah, she had to tell her like, and she wasn't having that either. She was like, you don't know what you're talking about, Sabrina. Czechoslovakia is a country. And I remember Sabrina being like 12, and she's like, "Ever been there?"
I don't have to go there. No, it's there.
That's true, but at the same time, I just felt, I mean, that was a pretty clever answer for like a 12-year-old, right? Have you ever been there? Maybe you should go.
How do you know Santa's not real? Have you been to the North Pole? Think about that.
That's not the same argument because you're proving that something isn't real as opposed to something that is real.
That's a little kid's argument. You ever seen $1 million? How do you know it exists?
It's like, you ever see that movie, The Salton Sea?
No.
It's a movie with Val Kilmer, and it's really good. And he's like a meth head. And they're talking about some big drug dealer guy. He's like basically the highest level like dealer in a region. So he's like kind of a lower guy in a cartel, mm-hmm. right? But he's like involved with the cartel. And they're talking about like, oh, man, he fucking does meth just like all the time. Like he never sleeps. And he's like, dude, that's just not true. And he's like, no, it is. I've hung out with him a bunch of times and I've never seen him sleep.
Uh-huh.
And then Val Kilmer's character is just like, have you ever seen the Pope sleep? And the guy's like,
Oh, I have heard this quote, yeah.
no. Why? Is he a tweaker? Yeah, okay, sure, fair enough. That's the way that goes. But anyway, I also have this piece of bullshit news, which is not really news, but I thought the headline was funny. Upon reading the article, it doesn't really pass muster, but it's a fun story. So, where is it? There we go. Headline. Headline. Cats recognize their owner's voice but don't care enough to respond. Scientists confirm.
What the fuck? These
Okay.
cats are assholes.
Pretty much. But I will say that, okay, so a couple things from the story. One, the University of Tokyo did a, quote, study. And the study was only done on 20 cats, which is statistically irrelevant. And the way that their scientists have confirmed what cat owners have secretly feared. Their felines know they are being spoken to, but don't care enough to respond.
Yeah.
And research suggests that they think they are the boss. A study has revealed that while Moggies, British name for cats, maybe? I don't know, recognize their owner's voice and can distinguish the tone from a stranger's call, they just can't be bothered to react to it. It reckons to their aloof nature goes back to a time when they were first domesticated but not trained to follow commands like dogs. Published in the Animal Cognition Journal? Whatever the fuck that is.
I wonder how many people are subscribed to that journal.
3. Historically speaking, cats, unlike dogs, have not been domesticated to obey humans' orders. I love when writers do this, where they say something, and then they have something that's like in the quotes. It's like exactly what they just said.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. Why would you do that? Rather, they seem to take the initiative in human-cat interaction. Research carried out tests on 20 cats, played voice recordings of their owners and strangers to see how they would react. Cats flickered their tails and moved their ears to locate where the voices were coming from and seemed more responsive to their owner's voice. So it's like kind of tenuous, not really science. Like I was thinking they like hooked their brains up to something and they could tell if they could
Cat with like electrodes on his head.
Yeah, something where you would be able to tell like their auditory response and whether they like can distinguish it and like it gives them some sort of imperative to do something. But no, they're just like, oh, they flick their ears and wag their tails trying to figure out where it came from, it seems.
Yeah.
It's like it's not really science. Yeah, University of Tokyo, which you shouldn't be weird or shouldn't be surprised that it comes out of Tokyo because
they like their cats
and they're weird over there. These results indicate that cats do not actively respond with communicative behavior to owners who are calling for them out of sight, even though they can distinguish their owners' voices. This cat-owner relationship is in contrast to that with dogs. But I just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because your cat will like, hey, buddy, like look at you like, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Just turns and looks at you like, oh, I see you. Turns your head.
You understand. It's like it reminds me. Actually, a more poignant version of that is that comic my girlfriend likes, the Sarah Scribbles, where it's like cats and dogs are both incredibly intelligent animals, right? It's like they could be taught to do tricks. So it shows like a cat doing the trick and the dog doing the trick. And it's like, and they can both like, navigate home if they get lost. And like a cat navigating home, the dog navigate. And they both understand commands. And it's like, hey, Spot, come here, boy. And he like comes over and it's like, hey, Fluffy, over here. And the cat's just sitting there and understand. Under it just says understands. it's like, yep, I know what you want. That's not going to happen. Yep. So that's not really science. Upon further
it's
examination,
science adjacent
ish.
Yeah,
I was going off on that diatribe about using. I feel like using the phrase junk science or pseudoscience, just like we shouldn't do that because it just like besmirches the good name of science.
It says science.
Yeah, you shouldn't like it's not science, so you shouldn't even attach the word science to it. Right? It's like not a thing. It's like science is a thing. And like anything outside that scope of the thing, it's like I'm even on that kick about scientific evidence. Like scientific evidence? Oh, you mean evidence? Like, most of the things that we would call evidence are scientific. You really wouldn't call something evidence if it weren't scientific. At least not in any way you could get your head around. It would constitute a preponderance of proof even if it were just not scientific. Like, can you even think of an example of something? Unless you wanted to say like
Like an eyewitness thing, which is just anecdotal.
That's anecdotal evidence, which is not really evidence.
Oh.
It's just like, we know that that's unreliable. And why do we know that's unreliable? Because of science. It proves that it's unreliable.
It's science adjacent.
It's science adjacent. It's like, I don't get it. Unless you want to make the argument like historical evidence. I remember getting in this big argument with my old roommate, New Ben, about...
Oh, you got an argument with him? Wow, what a surprise.
Because he's just dumb. And I don't know how to fucking... you ever talk to somebody that has all the trappings of being someone that's like fairly intelligent, and then when you actually like delve into talking to them, you realize that they have some very fundamental ticks in their fucking software that just don't compute in a way that like it belies their level of like speaking intelligently. He was that way. He would talk about things in a way that like gave you an indicator that he was not some knuckle dragging ape with like 2 brain cells to rub together, right? Like, okay, you know some shit about some things. Let's talk about stuff.
Yeah.
We were having this conversation about fucking science one day, and he was like, well, you just like, science can't fucking like prove everything. And I'm like, well, I never said science could prove everything. He's like, well, there are plenty of things that like wouldn't be, like you would call them proof. He's talking about history. How do you prove scientifically that like Barack Obama was elected president in 2008? I'm like, well, you don't. He's like, see? I'm like, but science doesn't study such things. Mm-hmm. I assumed we were talking about the things that science studies. Because his claim was...
Science can't prove you love your cat.
He basically was saying that he thinks that there are some things that science will never know. And I was just like, that might be true, but there's no reason why it couldn't know, like any given thing. Like, science won't necessarily know everything, but there is no reason why it couldn't know any given thing. And then he pointed to that, and I was like, but that's not... Science doesn't study historical events like that. I thought we were talking about the things that science studies. Of course, science can't know the things that are outside the scope of science studying. Mm-hmm. It's like saying you can't prove with chemistry a geological event. It's like, no fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, he would just do stuff like that all the fucking time. And it was like a part of the reason I just stopped talking to him. I'm like, okay, I'm done with you. You're done. But anyway, I don't remember why I got off on that rail. I was talking about scientific evidence and junk science and pseudoscience, but science adjacent. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what you got? You got any news?
Oh, just a heads up for,
junk
people
science.
Don't know about this stuff, like the minorities talking, so you can fast forward ahead for another like 30 minutes because you don't listen to this. Anyway, just letting you guys know.
Gal.
What?
Letting you that
whoa,
gal.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
Everybody in Michigan should die.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about it, the people in Michigan, I wish they put them on a boat, right? All of them, just kids, dogs, people
and dogs.
Yeah, cats too.
Oh, damn!
Just put them on a boat in the ocean, not the stupid lake that they live next to, but a real fucking ocean. Because I imagine the people that moved there, they like immigrated, like, oh, we're going to the other side of the world. And they stopped near a lake, and they couldn't figure out that wasn't an ocean.
They're like, that's the ocean.
Yeah, and they just stopped there. Anyway, but back to what I was saying. I wish they put all those people that live in Michigan in a boat. And I wish we could sink that boat. That's what I was thinking.
All the people in Michigan wouldn't fit on one boat. Because they would be like, you can't tell me where to go. I live here. Land of the free. Try to put me on no boat.
Put me on a boat. My parents didn't come on a boat to be put on a boat.
I'm from Michigan. You think I would be above talking in a Michigan voice as if they're from the deep south? But I'm not.
Is this the voice?
It's just the voice of idiots. Like Bill Burr has that bit where he's talking about that. Like, why do I every time I want to like affect somebody being dumb, I sound like I'm from the South? Apparently, it's what I think dumb people sound like.
It's unfortunate people that have Southern accents and they're really smart, and you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I can believe this science they're talking about.
Here's the thing, man. You don't understand.
Well, this is like a foghorn leghorn, like proper talk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The city.
A Southern gentleman
Yeah,
voice.
Southern gentleman telling me about science and the cotton gin.
Yeah.
I can believe that. But like, hey, y'all, you like want to check this out, man? Check out this like power collider I made over here.
Yeah, look at this moth I caught. Anyway.
Blockage of the Suez Canal holds up to 9.6 billions in goods every day. So, okay, the Suez Canal, one of the most important shipping passages in the world, has been shut down since Tuesday when a mega cargo container ran aground.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't. I just read the headline though. I didn't actually.
Yeah, you see that picture of that tanker right there? It's all blocking it up. So basically, from what I understand, that canal is basically their Panama Canal for Europe, and just stuck there, and just you can't do anything. He's like, well, sorry guys, you can't get any of your packages. We're kind of fucked.
Yeah, well, fuck Europe. No one cares about those people.
Do you wish you could put them on a boat?
I don't know where I'd send them. Not over here.
You know, just put them in the ocean and sink the ship.
Yeah, it's honing in.
Oh yeah.
A big party boat. Yeah.
Speaking of COVID news early on, Miami Beach extends emergency curfew as spring breakers overwhelm the city.
Where is this?
Miami Beach.
Oh, nice.
So I guess like it's spring break, all these fucking crazy fucks on the East Coast are like, I can't be held down, I'm gonna go party. And they're just running amok in Miami.
See, I still like this is just like a linguistic distinction, but I don't consider Florida the East Coast. I mean, I know it technically is because it's the coast and it's on the east.
It's like the deep south.
But it's like this, yeah, it's the South more than anything. And really it's its own thing. It's like Florida is like kind of like Texas isn't really the South either. It's like Texas. But yeah, I don't like when you say East Coast, I think like New England, or at the very least in that general ballpark, striking distance of New England.
By all counts, it's the East Coast.
I know, but if someone said like, yeah, man, I'm from the East Coast, like you probably wouldn't think they were from Florida, would you?
No, I would probably say that.
Really? Yeah, that's so weird to me.
Mm.
Maybe it's like a West Coast thing, because like West Coast is pretty much, you just assume someone's from California, because it's like 90% of the West Coast.
Yeah, it's 90% of California.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think of Florida as the East Coast. But yeah, I think my mom's going to Florida. Oh. This is fucked up. Okay, so, jeez, man, my mom has had a fucking rough go of it. My mom came out to visit me earlier or I guess last year it was. And we had a good time, and, my mom's older than me, go figure. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. But, she's in her 60s now. Uh-huh. And, but she didn't seem too concerned to travel or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that's cool. You're not, like, freaked out. You're taking the necessary precautions or whatever. And
I don't understand, like, our parents' generation just don't give a fuck. I'm putting no mask on. Fuck this.
No, she does that. But she just, like, she wasn't afraid to travel. And, I mean, she works at Walmart or whatever, too. Mm-hmm. So it's not like she doesn't get exposure to people and shit.
Okay.
And by most accounts, my mom has been fucking healthier than me, like, her whole fucking life. But she came out here and she generally just didn't seem too worried about a whole lot of anything. And then she went back to Tennessee and her brother died of COVID.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me this.
Yeah. And then like a month ago, or not even a month ago, like 3.5 weeks ago, her other brother had a heart attack.
Whoa. And
last night, her other brother had a fucking heart attack.
Whoa.
Yeah, my mom's doing bad on the brother front, man. And so I think she's going to go down to Florida to take care of the first brother that had a heart attack here pretty quick. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll come visit you in Florida. And she's like, oh, you come to Florida? I'm like, why not?
Do I need a passport to go there?
I know a couple people live in Florida, and better than going to Tennessee. What the fuck is in Tennessee?
Well, no.
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole. At least there's like Orlando and Tampa and Miami and Florida. There's the Keys, Hemingway House, all the cats and shit. Which is pretty fucking cool.
Get some key lime pie.
The best key lime pie I've ever had.
Uh-huh.
Chasing that high, son.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah, the Sunset Cafe in Key West
Uh-huh.
has the best key lime pie.
It's like something out of Dexter.
Yeah, it is. And it's fucking fantastically good. And I was like, man, this is fucking so good. I eat a lot of key lime pie. I love key lime pie. This key lime pie was fucking on point. I will say, though, that I was really disappointed in Key West's like mojito game. Pretty weak.
Yeah, you think they would have good mojitos.
You think they'd be on it, right? By all accounts, it's probably where it was invented.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, not that great. Had a couple of ones that I would say passed muster, but for the most part, it was just kind of like not that great.
Yeah, when I went to New Orleans as a kid, parents asked around a couple people that worked in, because we stayed in the we're near Bourbon Street near that place, and we're asking the locals or the people that worked there, like, what's the best like gumbo or like jambalaya you can get here? And a good amount of them pointed into this one place and like, oh, tried it out. I was like, this is not that good. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's like a thing you're supposed to be known for. It was like Diana going to Philly and she's like, yeah, I ate cheesesteak. It was like the most fucking disgusting thing I ever had. It's like, yeah, okay.
Well, that's everyone says it's like dog meat.
Yeah. Yeah, but so are Tijuana Mamas, but I fucking eat the shit out of those things, dude. Fucking so good.
Got another box.
I did. Running through them.
Uh-huh.
Running through them. It's like, I don't know why. Like, I'm like the only person that likes those fucking things, apparently. You say your buddy got one when you guys went skiing, and he was like,
"Whoa, what the fuck is this
like
shit?
Dog
Just do it on
treat?
the ground? What is this?" It's like, oh, it's one of those things.
It's gonna haunt me. Threw it on the ground. That's so unfortunate.
Do it on the ground like it was trash.
Uh-huh. That is I will say that is the common response to that. Like, pickled sausages. It's like, why would you fucking eat that? It's a disgusting shit. I don't know. It tastes good. It's like pig anus. Delicious.
It's like someone like at a gas station actually like just like they're eating a sausage and it fell into the pickle jar. It's like, hey man, looks good.
Hey, whatever it is, man, it's fucking good. I don't know. I like pickled sausage, I guess. It's just like a weird thing I like.
What's when I tried pickled eggs? Sometimes you see them around in the jars.
Yeah.
It's like a brain in the jar or something like that. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's like I used to have those like next to the pickled sausages.
Yeah.
Like pickled sausages, pickled
with
pig's
tongs.
feet, pickled pig's feet, pickled eggs.
Yeah, I'm not getting down with that pickles pig's feet shit.
Yeah, I don't get down with that, but I do get down with the sausages.
Uh-huh.
The sausages are good. I like sausage and I like pickles. Why would I like the combination of those things?
Some people say cucumber tastes good pickles.
Huh?
All right.
Yeah.
So what are you smoking on now? You smoking? Let's switch to another cigar.
Yeah, I'm smoking that Aganorsa Leaf Signature, the one that we smoked a couple weeks back. I like it. I've smoked a few of them now, and it's not drawing that well though. But it's good, nice and light. It's like one of those cigars that I was like, I liked it at first, and I was like, yeah, I'll give this another try. And then I tried it a second and third time. I was like, okay, I guess I like this cigar now because I keep trying it again.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
had a handful of not that blend, but the other one, the
Casa Fernandez.
Yeah,
those are good.
Yeah.
So it's like they have this, and they have the Casa Fernandez, and then they have the Guardian of the Farm. And then I've had one stick by them that I was kind of like, that's okay. And then I had one stick that I was like, I don't really like that. But then the other three that I've had, so of the 5 sticks I've had, 3 have been pretty good. One was okay, and one was like not so great. But I was like, well, that's a pretty good start. They don't have a terribly big line, so I would imagine that I'll be keeping my eye on any further releases from them. So just
cool.
Tastes like a Lugione to me.
Yeah.
Similar.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. But anyway.
Cool. Running up on time. Got any recommendations or parting words for the lovely people out there?
Yeah, watch Party Down. It's pretty good. It's worth a watch. I guess they're rebooting it.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, so, get caught up on it before they reboot it. You'll be up to speed. I don't know. I think they're going to have the same cast and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, now that I remember, they have a whole bunch of Academy like nominated movies on Netflix now. So I don't know if you want to go watch a couple or plan to watch a couple.
Mm.
I was thinking about watching Mink. The
Oh
whole
yeah, the biopic of what's his name?
yeah, the guy who wrote Citizen Kane.
Yeah, yeah. I watched. I kind of get burned out on those. Like it looked really stylized, and I was like, yeah, it looks kind of stylized. And it's like this biopic, so just kind of like I went on a tear for a while. Watched like Trumbo and Pawn Sacrifice, and there was just like a one after another that were just kind of like they were fine, but they were just kind of disappointing. They were like,
Well, we don't have to watch it. Well, I'm gonna look down the list. There was a Korean made film that looked pretty.
is it Bryan Cranston? Is that who plays it?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll watch that.
Yeah, I haven't had any Bryan Cranston in my life in a while. That
Yeah.
would be good. Watch old episodes of Seinfeld. Good stuff.
Let's see. Let me take a look on the old Netflix.
You see the Godzilla Kong movie just is coming out next week?
Yeah, like the ads are fucking everywhere. These guys stop.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch it. Let my uncle watch it. He'll tell me if it's good. Otherwise, he'll just be like, it's fine. Apparently, he said that Justice League fucking re-finagle is pretty good. He was like, yeah, it's like the movie you would expect it to be. It's like, yeah, okay.
I don't know what that means. It wasn't good to begin with.
No, but it's like he's like well, I watched the original Justice League, and you could tell there's like a fucking serviceable movie in there somewhere, but they just fuck it all up over the place. He says this about Prometheus too. He's like, there is a serviceable movie in there somewhere. It's probably a lot of it got left on the cutting room floor. They just didn't do anything with it. It's like there's something in there that could be good. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to wade through a bunch of shit though. It's like a serviceable movie.
Oh, apparently there's a rated R cut of Mrs. Doubtfire floating around.
What?
So there's that. I just saw that.
It's like one of those RoboCop things where they like...
That's the best clip I've ever seen. I just watched the video where people are doing like the VFX breakdown of something, and someone didn't realize that was a spoof. I was like, oh, that's not part of the movie. Because if I didn't know it, like, because at first I was like, wait a minute, this can't be real.
It's just like RoboCop.
Yeah, it looks exactly like RoboCop.
It's so good.
I can't find the list, but we'll talk about it later. So maybe we'll post something on social media if we're gonna watch a movie on Netflix that's nominated for this year.
Yeah, I don't even know what all was up this year.
I don't know. I don't really pay close attention to that. But
But
luckily, the whole pandemic thing, most of the movies are released on VOD, so
yeah,
that's
well,
good.
once after like a couple months ago when the Academy actually was like, we will not be considering anything that's not like these woke guidelines. I was like, oh, okay, so I don't really need to pay attention to the movies that you nominate anymore because apparently doesn't mean anything, and that's fine. It's been trending that way by my account since probably 2015, 2016, so the last 6-7 years, where it's like, oh, okay, like it's gonna something good, like Dune will come out. And it'll be fucking dope, I'm sure.
It's a hate crime.
Yeah, it'll just be like, well, that movie's not that good. It's like, oh, okay, good. Whatever. It'll be an endorsement at this point if it got snubbed. like snubbed it. Dune gets snubbed. Everybody would go see it. Like, yay! By the way, Roger Deakins, not the DP on Dune. Did not know that. Thought for sure he would be. Anyway, when does that fucking come out? We should go see that.
I think it should have been out by now. Or it was slated originally to come out during this time, I think. Or got pushed back. I just checked
the list of movies when theaters reopened to see if there was anything playing, and it was just trash. It was just a bunch of fucking stupid shit and things that looked like stupid shit. And so I was like, I'm not fucking watching any of this garbage just for the sake of going to a movie. I was like, if Dune comes out, I'll go fucking see Dune instantly.
Let someone cough in my face. Let the spice flow, baby.
Hey, if it was like, hey, you have a 2-day window to go see Dune in theaters, or you'll never get to see it in theaters. And there's like a 70% chance you'll get COVID. I'm fucking going to see that movie.
That's a big risk there, buddy.
I'd risk it. Yep, okay, I was never going to get to see that in the theater. Ever. It'd have to be like we're not going to ever re-release it like we did Blade Runner or any of that shit. So just never. It's like we're gonna just show up for 2 days in this theater.
This guy has to cough in your face. I'm not sure if he has COVID, but he's coughing a lot.
Yeah, that's a little gross, but I might be willing to take one for the team. It's gonna be good. Anyway, so yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that they put up a bunch of. I've just been on Hulu lately and HBO. I don't really even go on Netflix. My old lady goes on there and watch the British Baking Show or whatever. That's about it.
Oh my.
Yeah, we were stodgy there, isn't it?
Oh, it's spongy cake.
I know, just
Oh, that frosting, bruv, legend,
yeah,
bruv.
I'm gobsmacked. I'm gobsmacked by
It's
that.
like a fucking roadman, like doing the judging. Ah, bruv, legend, bruv. Ah,
I'm just totally gobsmacked by this pastry. All right, it's good, isn't it?
it's a bunch of pikey fucks.
Yeah. I don't know why that's my favorite new British, gobsmacked.
Gobsmacked.
Such a fucking stupid phrase. Yeah. It's just like, I realize that, like, they say that on the show all the time, jog on.
Jog on.
Jog on. It's like a polite British way of saying fuck off.
Oh, piss off.
Yeah, but piss off, fuck off.
Yeah.
Just fucking jog on, jog along.
Yeah.
It's like fuck off. Get out of here.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
My recommendation is we watched this like all these clips they're showing the samplings of music we've heard before, like Daft Punk showed you another one of Futurama theme song, where it's all the samples and they kind of slice it up visually and kind of play it back and forth. The YouTube channel is called Track Libs. Pretty cool. My recommendation for the week.
It's like video editing stuff, sound editing stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I do enjoy listening to those. There's some DJs that are like, check out the original where the sample came from for this song. It's always cool to hear that. It's kind of one of those things where they keep those older artists alive in some way. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
forgotten artists.
I wish they did that with films, where people, reminded people of like old films and like why they're good, because it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of people that do that anymore.
Oh, Movies with Mikey.
Yeah, those are mostly new films. Like I don't think I've ever seen a movie prior to like the late 90s. I mean like old, like Cinefix, like is the only station that I can think of that does that, where it's like, they'll talk about movies from the 70s, the 60s, the 40s, like, it's like, oh my God, you see this movie? It'd be like to me, like if you watch a lot of movies like I do, or have watched a lot of movies like I have, it would be like if someone was like, man, this fucking movie, you see this new movie where it was like this dude and he gets awakened, gets awakened on like this new way to live life. But then it just turns out that like the guy that awakened him is just like another part of his personality. That's like Fight Club. I mean, I guess isn't like a really old movie. Like
Magnolia.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's a movie. And I feel like this happens all the time when I'm talking about movies. Like, oh, that's just like in this movie, or like the thing in that movie. Like that all comes from this thing.
Maybe because it's like such of a time commitment, like a 2-hour time commitment, rather than listening to a track that's like what from the 60s and 70s are like 2 or 3 minutes long.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, an album, listening to a whole album is just about as well, maybe not quite as much of a time minute, 45 to an hour for a whole album.
Yeah.
Hour and a half to 2 hours for a movie, but I don't know. I mean, it's just easier to listen to stuff, and it's easier to watch stuff than it is to read stuff. So it's like, I'm just going to listen to everything. It's like, which is the way we're going, I guess. If people just you should listen to more podcasts though, like this one, because podcasts are
people just fast forward through stuff.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
Colored stuff.
Oh, that minority's talking again? Turn it off. No, thank you.
I love that you always make it out like she specifically called it like she's fucking minority. Like it had nothing to do with that.
I just wanted to make it sound like it.
Yeah.
Come on, that's part of the joke.
Yeah, she's just pretty racist about the whole situation. I don't fucking know that dude. Is he even from this country?
What was that foreigner talking?
Like, fucking go back to your country.
Can't understand you. But that's my recommendation. I know it started, I guess, on Audible for free. They have the Queen's Gambit. Listen to that.
The book?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I never read the book. I just saw the TV show. Why would I read something when I could watch it on Netflix?
Anyways.
Are you-
That does it for what I don't really have it, but you have anything
No,
else?
I got nothing else.
You good with it?
It's cool.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Legend, bro.
The legend, bro. Legend.
Check out Mikey's coaching convention
Yeah.
that he goes to every year.
Heck of coaches.
There's hella coaches there.
Yeah.
It's we all get together and learn to coach better. You're a coach, kind of.
Kinda.
Like a karate coach, like a kicky punch coach.
Coach Light. No.
I mean, what would you say the difference between a coach and like a sensei is? It's the sensei is just more specific, right?
The teacher.
Right.
Would you say your coach is a teacher?
Yeah. Wouldn't you?
And the coach is more like sports specific. Right.
You don't think of? Oh, I guess karate's not really a sport because it's not.
Way of life.
It's a way of life. It's not competitive. I had this whole argument with somebody about what constituted a sport one day, though, and admittedly, I have a pretty narrow view of what constitutes a sport. Like, I don't think things like track and field are sports.
Not a sport?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't think gymnastics is a sport.
I can see where you could probably say gymnastics not a sport, but to say track and field's not a sport, that's kind of hard to make that argument. Because there's if you're running track, the first one to the finish line wins.
So it meets one of the criteria that I think of as hardline sports. I'm not saying necessarily that track and field is not a sport, but for something to be a hardline sport for me, it has to be objectively and inherently competitive. And so track and field meets one of those, but not the other.
What do you mean? But what doesn't it meet?
It's not inherently competitive.
Running's not competitive? Javelin's not competitive?
Not inherently.
How's that?
Every time you run, you're competing against somebody.
When you're in a race, you are.
Right, because the race is objective. But one can run and you're not doing track and field. Right?
Sure.
One cannot basketball and not be playing basketball. You're either playing a basketball game or you're not.
No.
What do you mean, no? Yeah.
Like you're shooting around playing horse?
Then you're not playing basketball. You're shooting around. It's like when we go shoot around, we're not playing hockey. And we don't ever say we're playing hockey. We say we're shooting around. But if you are
Or
playing...
you're missing a big component of it too. Is like you don't have, you're not in the same setting. You don't have a goalie, right?
Right. So
you're
therefore,
shooting around.
it's not hockey. Hockey is a game, and it is inherently competitive. If you're playing hockey, you're competing against other people. If you're playing basketball, you're competing against other people. If you're running, you're not necessarily competing against anyone else. So running, like track and field as like an entire umbrella of sport, I would say is probably a sport. But like running is not a sport. Running is just running, and you can do it competitively or not do it competitively. But you can't play hockey not competitively, or you're just not playing hockey. And so to me, that's a hard line sport. There's no question if something is a sport there. And the other thing, or like boxing, right? Like you can spar. That's why there's delineation between sparring and boxing, or or an MMA. You spar with somebody is like you're not really competing against them. You're like exercising, basically. You're training.
You're practicing.
Right? You're training. You're not boxing. You're sparring.
Yeah.
Because if you're boxing, then you're inherently competing. You're inherently competing.
Then you can almost make the same argument for running too. Like running for fun or running outside is just practice or sparring. But when you make it against each other, then that's the sport, right?
Right. But running isn't a sport. Track, you could make the argument track is a sport. That's why I said track and field like as an overall thing. But like just running is not a sport because it's not inherently competitive. Like we could have a competition at who could like sit in this chair the longest, but that doesn't make sitting a sport, right? It's like you can compete at anything.
Sure, I understand that part. It's like the same thing with bowling. Bowling's not a sport. Poker's not a sport, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
there's like athletic events that is a sport. right?
Right. And there are no question about, for me, those things are hardline sports.
Yeah.
Because if you open the door to say that, running is just a sport, then it's free reign. Like, you could just say anything that one can do competitively, which is anything, can be a sport. That's why people say, oh, poker is a sport. Like, poker's not a sport. It's a card game. It's a pastime. It's something. But it's not a sport. But I would even argue that it's like at least meets tenuously two of those the criteria.
I guess
somewhat.
bowling, because you're always having a score put up there, so there's like.
But that just gets to the objectively competitive. This is why I don't think gymnastics is a sport, because
It's too subjective.
It's just total. It's just scoring, right? It's like not like I put the ball in the net more times than you put the ball in the net, then I win. It's like this guy says your little doohickey flippity doo is better than my doohickey flippity doo.
Because it looked better.
The general consensus that your doohickey flippity doo is better. And it's like, well, general consensus is not objective. I'm not saying that doesn't mean it has no merit. I'm just saying it's not like definitely a sport, a hardline sport. And so, yeah, that's
why like they always make the purest competition where there's no judges or anything like that. Like, people always want to point to like strongman competition as like the purest form. I lift the weight, the heaviest weight more than you did, I win. There's no judges saying like, oh, he kind of lifted it better.
Yeah. It's like, did you get it over the thing that you had to get it over?
Yeah. And you did it heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you won.
Or faster.
Yeah. Or whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever metric they want to do for that competition.
Sure.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like, I think gymnastics is probably more of an impressive endeavor than just like lifting stuff. It's like that bit that guy has about Arnold, about how most people don't like lifting stuff and they do it as a matter of necessity. But Arnold just did it so well that like we just made him famous. He's just really good at lifting stuff.
He was good at sculpting his body with the weights.
Yeah, but it's just, he's just like, look how good he is at that's why it's not a fair argument, because Arnold's not a strong man. He's a bodybuilder, right? There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the guys in the strongman competition, none of them look like Arnold. They're not even fucking close. And generally speaking, the few guys that have ever competed in strongman, like Lou Ferrigno, for instance, Lou Ferrigno looks like a order of magnitude within what Arnold looks like. Sucks at strongman.
Oh, yeah. It's like, little bitch.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
There's all these guys that have fucking like necks thicker than tires on a semi. It's like, that's what you need to look like.
Turn their head down like,
that's what you need to look like.
Like an owl. They have to turn their head.
Fucking Domo-kun and shit. You know, lift a weight. But yeah, anyway. Okay, well, that's it, I guess.
All right. Did pretty good on time. Aloha, guys.
Thanks for listening to Mikey and the Press Pass podcast. Consider subscribing. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. And you can also write us with any ideas, suggestions, or horrible burning criticism at mikeyandthepresspass@gmail.com. Thank you.